friends, my pleasant and humble wishes to all. Today we are going to talk about the current affairs of June 2, 2021. So let us move on to the topic. The Trinamool Congress and BJP spar over notice to former Chief Secretary. So Centre serves show cause notice on the former Bengal Chief Secretary under Disaster Management Act of 2005. This law was invoked for refusal to comply with direction of central government. Hours before the retirement of former Chief Secretary of West Bengal, Alpan Bandyopathy, he was served a show cause notice by the Union Home Minister under the Section 51 of the Disaster Management Act 2005. It is punishable by the imprisonment of up to 2 years. This section pertains to punishment for obstruction for refusal to comply with a direction given by the central government. He was asked to return explanation within 3 days. This action should not be taken against him under Section 51 of this Disaster Management Act of 2005. This notice was served barely a couple of hours before he retired on May 31. So he was refused a 3-month extension sanctioned to him by the state and the central government. This is a major reason this Act, DM Act of 2005 was invoked against him. Let us have a deep study that what it is the Disaster Management Act of 2005. This act was first came into existence after 2004, the tsunami, when thousands were killed. It was invoked after for first time in the country in the wake of COVID-19 pandemic last year. On March 24, 2020, the Centre through the National Disaster Management Authority, which is actually headed by the Prime Minister and Union Home Secretary, who is a chairman of the National Executive Committee under the National Disaster Management Authority. This act is still in place and has been extended across the country till June 30 of this year. This department was actually, the controlling authority of this department is an IAS officer, but show cause notice was served under the provisions of DM Act under the Home Minister. The notice said abstraining himself from meeting announced to the violation of Act. When Modi actually visited to West Bengal, such things have been happened. So this show cause notice has been provoked. Let us move to the next topic. So Supreme Court asked government to detail scheme for pandemic hit children. The COVID-19 surge, nearly 1,000 child in a country need a immediate care and protection, said the Supreme Court. The Bal Swaraj, it is an online tracking portal of National Child Right Body, shows a detail of nearly 10,000 children in the country need a care and protection. Child from age of 0 to 17 orphaned or abandoned during the COVID-19 pandemic. Since March 2020, the National Commission for Protection of Child Rights, that is NCPCR, the National Commission for Protection of Child Rights, informs the Supreme Court these children are highly under risk of being pushed into the trafficking of flesh trade. This is actually reported to the Supreme Court by National Commission for Protection of Child Rights. A bench of justice under Nageshwar Rao and Aniruddha Bose passed a suo motu examining the ways to protect the children who have suffered personal losses and trauma caused by this pandemic. So this is all about this topic. So let us move on to the next topic. Court in Dominica to hear Choki Case on Wednesday. So what is the important matter under this case? So why we are seeing this? Similar case like this happens when Abu Salim, an underworld gangster, reason for 1993 Mumbai attack. When he was in Portugal in 2005, after a long battle, he was brought into India by Mr. Sharma. Similarly, like this, now in Choki Case also, who was in Dominica, claimed that he was Antiguan citizen as he received his citizenship in 2017. Whereas, the important point to be noted is the Dominican Prime Minister Gaston Brown actually said the Choki that Choki is an Indian citizen. He did not complete his renunciation. But according to the fact mentioned by the Choki's advocate, according to that, the Section 9 of the Citizenship Act, person ceased to be an Indian citizen the moment he or she acquired the citizenship of the other country. It is actually mentioned in Citizenship Act, which is in the Part 2 under Article 9. So this case is to learn how the article work on, and below the article Section 9, once a citizen, if he is going to acquire other country's citizenship, automatically our Indian citizenship will be stopped. This is the main thing to be noted under this topic. So let us move on to the next topic. BRICS will assist India to fight COVID-19, say the China minister. So yesterday the BRICS meeting has been held, which is chaired by India. So under this, a few important points need to be noted. Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi expressed solidarity with India over the recent surge in COVID-19 cases and said the grouping was ready to assist the country to fight pandemic as long as needed. Ministers also agreed on reforming the multilateral system. It was first time that such consensus was reached. Ministers expressed their concern over the continuing public health because of impact of this COVID-19 pandemic and expressed their condolence for the lost life. This gathering described pandemic as a most serious challenge before world, while also highlighting the importance of respect for territorial integrity and sovereignty and equality of states. As also they quoted down those words. External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar, who is actually chairing this meeting, welcomed the participants and recollects the journey of BRICS since 2006 and their first meeting in New York in 2006. And now this organization completes its 15th year of its existence. A journey statement issued after the meeting is called for equitable access to vaccine, medicines and technologies as well as equipment to deal with this pandemic. So the minister reaffirmed the need to use all the relevant messages during the pandemic, including supporting ongoing consideration in World Trade Organization on COVID-19 vaccine, intellectual property right waiver and use of flexibilities of TRIPS, trade-related aspects of intellectual property rights agreement, and Doha Declaration on the TRIPS agreement and public health. India and South Africa actually demanded TRIPS waiver for COVID-19 vaccines. The mention of term flexibilities in the joint statement is being viewed as a normative step forward towards greater vaccine equality and availability in world. Apart from support of World Trade Organization, Foreign Minister also expressed support for comprehensive strengthening and reforming of UN Security Council, the General Assembly and UN Secretariat and Economic and Social Council. They said working of international multilateral agreement should be more responsive and inclusive. It should strengthen the capacities of individual states and international organizations to better respond to new and emerging tradition and non-traditional challenges including terrorism, money laundering, cyber security, false news, etc. Also, suggest the grouping against terrorism and to implement the BRICS counter-terrorism strategy, result-oriented action plan in an effective manner. It also supported the sustainable solution to Afghan crisis. The participants of Russia, Brazil and South Africa called for transparency in the recruitments to the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund. So this is all about the important points about BRICS. So let us move on to the next topic. Actually, we have seen this topic yesterday. Today we can have a briefer idea about this topic related to India. China's coercive population measures serves as warning for India, expert says. How? For 4 decades, China has one child and two child policies to control this population. Monday, China says it will allow 3 child as its state has its fast aging population. Coercive measures like 2 child led to the human crisis. In what way it affects India? Because India should take this as a learning, as a lesson. In India also, we are now learning from China. This failed experience, as in 3 decades, we Indians also end up with this aging issues. Example, in Sikkim and in Lakshadweep, we will be facing similar challenges of aging population as well as shrinking workforce, given that they have low fertility rate. This is actually going on in Sikkim and in Lakshadweep. So we should take lesson through this China's view. India has long been concerned about curbing population explosion, but need to focus on its attention on population stabilization also. India, according to the UNFPA's India's Aging Report that was released in 2017, shared age of population. The population over the age of 60 is actually 8% in 2015. It was actually 19%. By the end of century, elderly will be 34%. The annual growth rate of elderly will be 3%. Okay. On the contrary, the growth rate of the young group is already in negative, which is actually right now facing. This issue is facing by the China. So we should take up a lesson from the China's failure. Hope this video is very useful. I would like to say that our academy war, Win and Rule, is coaching students in various exams like NEET, TNPSC, UPSCs, as well as we are tutoring students from class 6 to 12 in all subjects. One-to-one student coaching is also available at students' preferable timing. For further detail, refer the description.